What's up, everyone? It's loud. This is our first, what did I call it earlier? A traveling show?
On the road?
On the road,
Something
yeah.
like that.
On the road again. So what are we talking about today? Mindset?
Yep.
Where to start? That sort of stuff. Good intro. My name is Todd, and I am here with my wife and business partner, Jen.
Hello.
We are in Waterville, Maine.
We are.
Jen is teaching color tomorrow.
Yeah. Color, yeah.
And I just tagged along. So we're recording a podcast on the road. It's kind of cool.
If you're watching, you're seeing our room we're staying in
Yeah,
tonight.
we're staying in this little bed and breakfast.
Pea green avocado room.
I like the green.
It looks good.
So, cool. All right, so you have to start where you are. We were having this conversation the other day. I don't remember the example or what spawned this, but we started talking about people that start navigating their career and go down like a rabbit hole or get sidetracked or try to do too many things. And I always make fun of the example you'll see on Instagram and stuff. I'm always making fun of social media because I think it's fun.
You should, and it is fun. That's what it's there for.
So you always see these like people that share stuff that are like, here are the 12 morning habits of a billionaire. And they put that out there almost like people, if you have these habits, you'll be a billionaire. But that's not how that works. You need to start where you are.
Yes.
Not where a billionaire is, unless you're a billionaire.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Makes sense to me.
I think that's the part, though, with social media. People get caught up in the non of reality. Right? So that's part of the problem.
Yeah, for sure. I used to see it in the gym a lot, and I know I use these examples a lot, but that's what I have to draw from. So I'm going to continue using them. But you would see people that would want to train how like these elite athletes train. And I'm like, you're missing the whole part that they probably put in 15 years as a beginner.
Right.
10
you have
years.
to start there to get to where that is, and that takes a lot of time.
It's just like anything. You need repetitions. You know, literally repetitions to get better. So, all right, let's get focused. It's warm in here. That's okay. So, yeah, you can't start where someone else is. Even if you want to be like that person, you need to start, or you can mimic their behaviors, but I would find out the behaviors that they were doing early on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget when you meet someone, you don't know their story prior to meeting them,
right?
And how they arrived at where they are today. You see them today as who they are, and you want to be that person, but that individual went through so many steps to get to where they are. This example seems to resonate very much in our salon at Hello, and the staff will say, like, you just know everything. You're so good. And I've been doing hair for 23 years. And I literally will say to them, guys, I've been doing hair. My career has been as long as you are alive. I should be good at it. So your whole entire time on this planet.
Imagine if you weren't good at it.
Right. I've been doing this as my craft. So yeah, of course I know a lot. That's how long. And when I put it in perspective like that, they're like, holy shit, that makes so much sense. I'm like, yes. Like, it's not that you can't get where I am, and your mind will have all this information, but it's not going to be over the next month, year, whatever, just because even you're working with me. It takes time.
Right. It took you 23 years.
Yes. And lots of things that happened in between that.
This industry, a lot of industries are like this, but in the hair world, I feel like people are, and it I guess can stem from social media, because you see these people that are doing things and then you want to try them, which is fine. I would never tell somebody not to try something, but I definitely am big on foundations.
That was the word in my head. You have to build a strong foundation before you can jump up 5 pegs.
Right. Right.
Like we always...
You need repetitions.
Yeah.
So if you want to cut hair, learn the basic haircuts and get fucking good at those
Then,
before you start tackling all
Yep.
this crazy shit that you see and doing stuff more for show.
yeah.
More for, honestly, it's most likely it's more for the person's ego.
I coach on both of those. So for color, I coach, learn the basics, do them before you break the rules. You can break the rules, of course, but if you don't understand why you're breaking the rules and haven't had enough experience with color to do that, you're not there yet. The basics are enough for you. With cutting, same thing. I want you to use the same combs, the same clips, the same scissors for a few haircuts. If you don't like them, then we'll change it out. But don't keep trying 5 different combs, every haircut, all these different clips, a new comb because it just came out, plus a new scissor. You're never going to know which one's like failing you. Like you've got to commit to it for a little bit before then you can start changing some stuff.
Right. Barbers, I feel like, are notorious for tools.
Yes, I would agree.
We have 19 different clippers.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of
and
shears.
There's also hype over all the stuff. Like you can get better if you have this. And when you're new in the industry, you just want to get better. And that's what we're saying. Like you have to like start where you are, but you can't buy a bunch of shit and just think automatically you're going to be good with that stuff. Like it's not going to work that way.
So I will say that you need solid stuff, but I wouldn't go out and go crazy. Like when I finished barbering school, you bought me a pair of shears.
Yeah, like you can't use the shears
that instantly made me better.
And that's a true fact. There are going to be some of those things that are pivotal in your career of getting in the beginning. Don't overly purchase all this stuff or maybe invest a ton of money, but you will need to upgrade some of your toolkit immediately, and that will help you technically right from the get-go.
Right. Agreed 100%. Now, I didn't go out, like you just said, I didn't go out and buy 7 pairs of shears.
Right, because you didn't even know what you liked yet.
I didn't know what I liked.
And in the shear industry, it was really important. And we found someone, and we say this often, like find your circle, build it. We found somebody that was behind a brand that we liked, a reputable guy that came into our salon, and we trusted that he would teach the staff, like, what would be the best for them, full well knowing they were newer people. Like, please do not try to sell them a $1,500 pair of shears. If they want that, that's fine. But this is their first purchase. Like, get them in something that like is affordable, they can get sooner than later, and they can grow with. But, you know, some people come in and shiny new and will sell you everything under the sun. Those people are not allowed in our salon.
Yeah, I would just ask.
They gotta go.
Really good at not having time.
Yeah.
So, yes. Shout out Chris if you're listening.
He's amazing.
Awesome. He's awesome.
He's my bestie right now.
So we can even put his Instagram in the show notes.
Super cool. He's a great guy. If you want a knowledgeable, honest person, he's your guy.
So let's talk about building a foundation. So somebody gets finished with school. Mm-hmm. They get out into the workforce. They decide they do actually like hair. I feel like when you finish school, there's a little period where you're like, is this really for me?
I think because generally people suck at it and it's a lot harder than they thought. And anything new you generally suck at till you work on it over and over again. And then you start to get better. But I think it's just like, this is going to be easy. And it's just not easy.
That's what I thought before I even started school. I just assumed it was going to be easy, and I got humbled real quick. Day one.
And if you're on social media watching all of these people that have been doing it a long time, they make it look easy. But that's because they've been doing it a long time.
It's because they're fucking talented.
Yeah, you need that person to come in a room with you and help you start at the bottom, the basics, and then grow you from there.
So what would you recommend to somebody that's like, I want to get... So we actually have had these conversations with people at our salon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's not use anyone specific for an example, but we'll create like a little avatar. So somebody comes in, Tim. And
hey, Tim.
Tim has been doing hair for like, I don't know, a year and a half.
I was going to say a hot minute.
Yeah,
a minute. That's a hot minute.
So he joins the team. We hire him. And Tim says, Jen, I want to do what you do. I want to do this. I want to do that. What do you say? How do you... Because you can't just say, it's Tim, shut up. Put in 20 years.
Yeah, no, I would never. I don't love that.
So how do you motivate? I know how I would go about it, but how do you...
I think from experience, what I generally do is kind of, hey, Tim, why did you get into the industry? What do you think you're going to love the most about it? Like, what do you think from all of the...
That is a huge one. I'm going to interrupt you because finding out, so if you're an owner listening, finding out what your staff wants out of not even just their career, but their life. Like, what are their goals?
Yeah.
Who are they? Who do they want to become?
Yeah. What is their vision for their future?
And then you can coach them. But go ahead.
All right. So I'm finding out Timmy's future of his future
So
version.
he doesn't like Timmy. He prefers Tim.
Oh, okay. Shoot. I got to get better at that. All right.
Yeah, his mom calls him Timmy in a condescending way.
All right.
And it just doesn't jive with
So
him.
what is Tim's future version of his self or himself, however you'd say that? Because that's important. And then from there, I could lay out an education plan, and his future version may have 6 components to it. But from there, and if I'm watching Tim and we do a technical interview, if I'm watching the technical interview and probably, some other things that he's doing, maybe figure out what's going to come easiest to Tim first, and let's grow that part of Tim's toolbox.
I've noticed with you and your style with people is you are very much into, and I'm this way with people as well, the low-hanging fruit. Get some wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Accumulate some wins.
Yeah, I want you to have confidence, and that will showcase through everything you do, right?
Precisely.
Yeah. And if we can get that, then there's a relationship there, right? Tim trusts me. He's like, whoa, Jen's helping me. She's really guiding me, and I'm growing. And then we can discuss sort of from there what's next on Tim's list, and maybe we can take on a more challenging skill set and hopefully keep Tim's attitude and positivity in a great place.
That's really all it breaks down to is your attitude.
Yeah.
And you have to, once you can, you got to ditch your ego.
Yes. Open it up for constructive criticism. Yeah,
I remember.
And for growth.
I remember being in school, and we weren't even done with school, and some people were like, I'm just over this. There's really not much else for me to learn. And I was like, holy shit, what?
I've heard people a year out of school say, I'm bored with hair. And I'm like, you're bored with hair?
That's a different episode. That's a complacency.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, I'm in for 23 years, and I'm just getting started on some cool shit. I get excited all the time. But anyway.
That's because you're actually into it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always constantly
That's why
changing.
I was pointing out it's important to get wins for people, because then when you have some wins, you buy in. And when you buy in, you're excited. And when you're excited, there's nothing really that can stop you. Once that excited inspiration
goes, then this is the hardest part, is keeping them on course.
Yes.
And dialing them in so their head doesn't get too big, or they don't now be like, I want to do everything. I got to keep them like on track. Like this is our pace. This is what we're doing. So that we can get one really foundational skill set going, and then we can add on to it. But that becomes the hardest part as you transition and you get them those wins, is how do you keep them grounded and focused?
Yeah, that's tough.
And I'm living that life. So that's the biggest part. Because then I get excited and I want to teach them everything too. But I have to be careful, especially like you always remind me when I come home from a training and I'm so excited, like, hey Jen, dial it in. Please do not vomit all this shit on the staff, because they'll quit. Or they get so excited. They're like Tasmanian devil. They don't know what to do with it. And I get that. Like, I have to be
careful, because we're both big fans of sharing all of your knowledge. I don't hide
every single thing.
I don't hide anything, but how you deliver that knowledge as an owner or a mentor, somebody that's coaching somebody,
most important part.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. It's huge. The delivery.
For the failure or the success, right?
Correct.
Because you it's in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I take full responsibility. There's been times where I'm like, oh, that was an epic fail. Just of the way I delivered it, whatever it was too overwhelming. However it may be, and then I learned from those mistakes. It's how I've arrived where I am today, and I grow from them. So that's pretty much what I would do with a new person coming in, right? To get them started.
Mm-hmm.
Start where they are. And maybe even you would lay out, not maybe, you would, a few things for their future so they can keep those clear in their path.
I think it's really important too to lay out goals, and you need short-term goals. Like we will tell people, have a goal. When, like, for example, when you're newer and you're building your clientele, your goal might be to book a haircut today. Mm-hmm. Cut someone's hair.
Our staff usually...
It might not even be book a haircut. It might be cut someone's hair. You might even... Yeah. I'm not a big fan of doing stuff for free, but you might text a friend or a family member and say, hey, I need to practice. So
because if you go one day without doing a service, you're off your game. And when you're growing, you're not going to get all the services every single week. So you need to keep that going. We always have mannequins in the salon too, so people can work on stuff all the time.
That's a good point. Yeah. Get in those reps.
Yes. If you have a foil coming in, you haven't done a foil in a week, check out your skill set there. How's that going to go? There's nothing wrong with that. That is how you grow in any industry. Practice, 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 whether it's at home or at the place you work in. I love for the clients to see that. I think it's amazing. They see them always working on stuff. That's a positive.
We always have like a buzz of some sort of education, or somebody's doing a model or a mannequin or trying something on each other even. Or
so if you're out there and you're just starting out and you're not that busy, and either get a mannequin and work on it every single day, and if not that, get a person in your chair. I don't know what your salon allows, but every day. That's the win for our stuff. They can book a client every day.
So those are good short. That's like a short-term goal there. So then, you have your medium goals that might be a little flexible, and then you have your long-term goals, which we've kind of already covered, because when you first are talking to somebody, you find out where they want to be, who they want to be, that sort of thing.
And I think it's meeting with them while those things are happening, and asking them how they feel about their progression. Because I might have an opinion on the progression, and I might think it's moving great, and they might feel like it's either too fast or too slow. Right. I want more, or I actually feel very overwhelmed.
A lot of communication.
But I'm looking up to you, so I'm trying to hang on, So those are real conversations, and those check-ins are extremely important to make sure you're both on the same page. Because even if you think you are, it doesn't mean that you are.
No,
and you
you're most likely not.
And you don't want them to fall off or go too fast in the other direction.
Right. So if I was asked that same question, I would say to first... I would back up a little back to the goals. I would sit down with somebody and just really go over their goals and write them down. They have to be written down.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And then, because you can use that later.
That's your metric.
Yes. Yeah. And I was going to get into metrics actually. So the first thing thanks. The first thing I would say after you lay out your goals, and if you're already at a place, that's fine. I'm not saying move salons or shops, but you have to find a team, and you have to surround yourself with some good people that will lift you up, that do what you need to be done. And in the beginning of your hair journey, you're going to need support, uplifting,
a lot,
some mentoring. So you're going to need that team. Even if you're an independent stylist or barber and you're working by yourself, you still need a team. You still need a mentor.
Yeah, and in that case,
might be
it might be
harder,
even more important, because if you're by yourself, you don't see much of what's going on outside of your world.
Right,
so
facts.
It's very easy to get complacent. It's very easy to...
Checking Instagram is not a substitute for...
Yeah, I feel like your job's even harder, because you got to go get a service at another salon, or go out and talk to some people in the industry just to see where you are measuring up, good or bad,
So because we're talking about mindset here, I think we should point out that you don't have to know everything. I know a lot of people though that are independent, and they're fearful because they feel like they have to come across as they know everything because they're a quote unquote business owner, which
hell no.
You're not really.
I don't know everything.
As a booth renter. That's my 2 cents. That's a little controversial, but we'll do that at a different time.
Yes. Even when I teach, when I go in tomorrow and they ask me a question, there will be stuff I don't know. I'm okay with that, but I know who to go to find the answer, or how to navigate that. And I'll never overpromise something.
Right. Well, that's genuine, and people compliment you all the time on that. So the next thing I would do is set up something to evaluate. So you have to set some metrics. How are you measuring your progress? And it's not going to be product sales. No. We're not talking about the old fashioned, KPIs, your percents booked. When you're starting out, you want to focus on yourself. Even if it's, this week I felt fulfilled.
Yeah.
This week I made progress. Because people get so, we have people that are 4, 5, 6 months in that are doing amazing, but it's funny because if they have an off day, that's what they see, that off day. And you'll say, or I'll say to them, let's let's take a step back and look at a little more of a macro picture. And it's always, you've come so far, but you just don't see it. The
focus goes on the negative space, right? And it's
so having those metrics,
you need that to keep you on your game.
Is going to be important because you can check them and it keeps you honest with yourself.
Yeah, the level-headedness of that.
Yeah, because it's so easy to be like, well, Jen, Todd, my Tuesday just, everyone canceled and whatever. Yeah, well, you have the rest of the week and look at all the months that you've accumulated of great weeks, and that's just one example. I'm sure there are a million, but so you've got to find some metrics and ones that matter to you. Maybe it's how you feel. I don't know. It's not me, it's you. Maybe it is money. I don't know. Maybe it is services. I want to, like, number of services. I want to have at least a service per day. That's my goal to start. Cool. Start there.
Yeah.
That's what.
And check it off when you do it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Celebrate.
The next thing I would do is set a time for people.
Love that.
Whether it's 6 months, 3 months, 1 week, whatever is appropriate to reevaluate. Now, we do this with our team. Some of them, if you guys are listening and you haven't booked your coaching calls in a while, book your fucking coaching calls. I know you
do it right now.
Yeah, do it right now. So you ideally, like, we like to talk to everyone. It doesn't have to be every single month, but we do monthly coaching calls.
I like once a quarter because that's pretty much how we lay it out.
At a minimum.
Yeah. Once a quarter.
But we have people that are every month on a call with us. And that's cool. Once a quarter is cool too, because you see them every day in the salon.
Yeah.
More than I do, obviously. Yeah. But
we're up close and personal often.
Yeah. So it's not like you can't talk. But when you have that set time, it's scheduled for you.
And they
it's
come with
uninterrupted.
A list. And
yes. And it's your time.
Really nice. Yeah.
Then what I would do is just assess and evaluate. So look at your metrics that you've laid out. Look at your progress or lack of progress if you had an off month or week or year or whatever.
I think too, when you're setting a timeline, it's really important to make it realistic first. And then second.
Oh, for the goal, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has to be. Specific goals, SMART goals or whatever they're called.
Yeah, realistic. And then let's say you do a month, right? Because you generally need a little bit more time than probably even that. But let's just say you did a month of whatever you're working on. In that month, there are going to be lots of ups and downs. You cannot fall off track when you have a few downs because then you're not working on it. So at the end of the month, when you go to look at what you were intending to do, be honest with yourself. Did you work on it exactly how you laid out? Because if you didn't, you're doing it again the next month. You have to be honest with yourself or find an accountability partner to keep you honest and be like, hey, dude, you said you were going to do it this way. And last week you did nothing to work on that skill. Well, now you're a week behind. You're not benefiting yourself. So you have to keep on track. You have to push through the downs to get back to the ups.
Yeah, and I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but for some people, some things, even your goals, might not come natural to you. And you might find that you're in constant need of practicing.
I'm working on a new skill set right now. And I hired someone to come work with me one-on-one because it's clearly not something I am good at naturally. I keep asking myself, why the fuck am I doing this? But I truly want growth for myself. And I understand that going through this part and being uncomfortable and learning this will grow me as a stylist and I feel as a person. And I'm actually excited to learn it. I need help. So rather than quit, I phoned a friend and been like,
get frustrated and take your stuff and
because I could, even the videos were throwing me off. I'm like, this is so over my head. So I will give up my time on a Sunday and I will work with a mannequin and then a model and I am going to kill it. And that's just it because my mindset says I'm going to. But I need someone to show me how to do it.
Yeah, we need mentors for everything.
And that's my accountability, right? So I'm doing it 23 years in. You can do this. You just have to ask for help when you need it and realize when you need a friend, I guess.
I'm going to just, we have a mindset or education podcast planned. So I don't want to get too crazy with education, but if you have a coach or a mentor, and I don't mean a business coach or anything like that, just someone that helps you, go to that person or that group and use them as a filter. Because with social media, there's so much bullshit out there in the world. Like, you need this or you need that. And not just products, but you have to be able to do this technique and you have to be able to do that. And in reality, you don't. There are so many ways to achieve the same haircut, the same color.
And simpler ways that like will make you happy and make your mind understand it. And
by being stubborn, if you don't really truly embrace a growth or a beginner's mindset, if you're stubborn, you're 100% going to have you're setting yourself back.
Yeah.
So
you're going to hit a wall really fast.
Yes. Not only that, but when you have a coach or a mentor, that is speed. Mm-hmm. That's really what.
Yeah. You're going to get there way faster.
Yes.
And so to that point,
if you start thinking I can do this on my own, I'll figure it out on my own, you've just set yourself back.
Yeah, I don't know how long
because it depends on what you're doing.
But it will mathematically take you longer.
Yeah, it'll take you longer.
So especially those people coming out of school, you either find that mentor person or find that salon that has mentors in it, and that's the place you want to stick for a bit. I never say you have to stay somewhere you don't like. I'm not saying that. But stick somewhere that will mentor you and grow you, because...
No, don't stay somewhere if you're not happy. There's another way to fucking kill progress.
Yeah, for sure. But if you've got that, I have seen a stylist recently with us in 1 year do what took me 5 or 6. And she shows up to education every week with me. And that's why she has blown it out of the water.
That's awesome.
It's super cool because she got there really fast. And most people want that, but don't put in the work. And then they just complain that they're not getting there. But you've got to take a look at yourself. What are you doing to get there?
She is amazing. So it's really cool to watch because it's nothing to do with luck or anything to do with that.
She put in the fucking work.
And she's getting now, like she's going to be given, I know what she's going to be given, but she's going to have opportunities to do things that people 1 year in generally don't
get, because I think she's a superstar, and you
fast tracked her in a sense.
And I fought,
but it wasn't fast tracked.
No, she did the work.
It was showing up on Thursdays every week. That was like a goal.
Yeah,
show up on Thursdays every week. Now she teaches on Thursdays.
Yeah, she's my right hand woman.
It's amazing. It's really cool. And the thing I want to stress is it's the reps. She did it every week.
Yeah, like, so it's, I say all the time, people are like, oh, she's so lucky, or she's so just naturally talented. And I'm sure she has lots of natural talent, whatever.
Yes, of course.
But no, don't discredit the friggin' hard work she put in.
She put in
to do that.
Fucking reps.
Like, I'm like, she should be proud of herself because she did that. No one did it for her. She
pretty much put on a masterclass of how to get as far as you can, like how to maximize a year, 1 year out of school. She's pretty booked.
Yeah.
She's extremely talented. But again, that's because she forces herself to be uncomfortable. There have been times where she's done clients that she doesn't vibe with. And there could be tears after. Yes, it's a stressful situation. Mm-hmm.
But she sees the learn every single time.
She sees that, and a lot of people will see that like, oh, I need to go home. And that was terrible. Oh, woe is me. Like, nope, she doesn't do that.
Let's talk it out. What do we do differently? And I think sharing that story for anyone out there listening, it's just really to resonate that it's not negative, but take a look at yourself. What are you not doing? What haven't you put in if you aren't where you want to be? I know, but it's easy to blame everybody else. But the minute you start looking internally and you understand what you need to change in yourself, like you'll have that foundation to progress and be very successful.
For sure. So when I owned my gym, I had somebody that was a client, and I was training her for, I don't know, maybe like 6 to 9 months. And I remember she came to me one day after a class, after a session or whatever, and said, I don't feel like I'm making progress towards pull-ups. I can't get a fucking pull-up. That was always a huge one for people, just because it's kind of a fun movement and
it looks cool.
And if you can pull yourself up over a bar, you're better than a lot of people.
I was going to say, when it comes to strength, it sets you apart.
Yeah, when it comes to strength in the real world, like, you're stronger than the average person if you can do a pull-up. And I remember having the conversation, and I said, well, let's assess this. Let's start with you. And she was like, okay. Because I show up and I was like, hold on. How often are you putting in work, actual work, not just showing up to a class, but actual work specifically to build your pull-up, your pulling strength or whatever? And I remember a long stare and she was like, yep, okay, I'll get to work. Like it clicked for her because she hadn't been putting in the work. She was showing up kind of half-ass, giving it a shot or, you jump up on a pull-up bar and you kind of flail around for a little bit.
You put it in the universe, but then didn't do the work to get it to happen.
Reps. It takes reps.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to learn how to do a pull-up, I can teach you how to do a pull-up, but you're going to have to put in reps. So, yeah, that just clicked for her because she was ready to blame the world. She was ready to blame, like you said, she was ready to blame everybody else. But I stopped her real quick, as a good coach should.
Yeah.
And we're going to start with you.
Had a real conversation.
Right. Because if I didn't know where to go. Like, you never know where to go with somebody. So it's always important to see how they're seeing things too. Like, because if she was like, I work hard, I bust my ass, I really work, then I'm like, okay, I don't want to crush this person and disagree with them just because.
Now you might be like, show me the work you've been doing. Let's see what else needs to happen. Right.
And then that's how you show them you haven't really been, okay, so you've been working on this once a week. You really need to work on it 3 times a week or whatever.
You build on it positively. Yes. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. What else? Any other advice? I think the biggest takeaway for me is for people starting out, or even if you're 20 years in, just always have that growth mindset.
Yeah.
Always
and write down your goals.
Be a beginner.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about education in a different podcast, but just be that student. But be that student that practices, that puts things in progress, like into the real world. You can take all the online, I'm trying not to go crazy on the education, but you can take all the online courses you want. You can do all the download my PDFs. You can learn all the tips and tricks. Means nothing unless you practice it and put in the reps.
You have to apply it.
So.
That's the real work.
How do you feel?
Great.
All right. I think that's a wrap on that one.
I love it.
All right, cool. From Waterville, Maine.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Follow us. Check out stuff in the show notes. I don't know. We'll link some stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to link Chris in there.
Absolutely.
And we created a new Instagram, Hello Hair Pro.
Yes, we did.
And you can find us on there. I'll link it in the show notes too.
Give us a like. Give us some comments. Tell us what you want.
Yeah, reach out. Tell us what you want. Get on our mailing list. And we will talk soon. Goodbye.
Bye.